have a quorum. Thank you for starting the recording. And I think we'll be kicking it off with our rules of engagement and civility from Vivian, unless I'm skipping over a step.
Yeah, I can just jump right into them. I was in a meeting recently where they were called community agreements, which I thought were nice.
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay, so thank you, Lisa, and thanks everyone from the public for joining us today. We appreciate. Sorry, go ahead. Thanks for pulling up the slides. So thanks for attending tonight's planning board meeting. My name is Vivian, and my role in planning board meetings is to facilitate public engagement portions of these meetings. And we have these community agreements or rules in place to help us achieve a balance between transparency with community members and security that minimizes disruptions. So we'll start, once I'm done reading these, with open comments from community members who are with us tonight. And then there is one public hearing later in today's agenda. We want our community to know that the city's really striving into a vision that was co-created by city staff and community members for productive, meaningful, and inclusive civic conversations, and that these agreements were worked out with community to develop expectations for meetings. And the vision is really designed to promote free conversation and dialogue while also recognizing we want to make sure everybody who's participating feels safe and welcome. And we also want to make sure we're making space for different viewpoints in our meetings because we believe it leads to more informed decision making. Next slide, please. And we have a lot of information on our website about the Productive Atmospheres vision. And I'm going to just focus in on part of that right now that's relevant for this meeting. There are a number of rules of decorum in the Boulder Revised Code, and we have some general guidelines that are advisory in nature to share with all of our meeting participants. First, we ask that all remarks and testimony raised tonight be related to city business. We will not allow any participant to make threats or use any other forms of intimidation against any person in this session. Obscenities, racial epithets, and other speech and behavior that disrupts the meeting or otherwise makes it impossible for us to continue in the moment is prohibited. And we do also ask that participants identify themselves by the name they are commonly known by. Next slide. We're in the Zoom webinar format right now, which allows for participants from the public to speak at designated times, and we will not be turning on video for community members because of security concerns in this platform. So we cannot unmute participants without the full name. If your full name is not currently displayed, please go ahead and change it. And if you're not sure, you can send it to me in the Q&A and I'm happy to change it for you. So no pre-existing list to speak, so you can raise your virtual hand, and you can do that by looking for the horizontal menu at the bottom of the screen with 3 clickable items, and you can click on the hand icon, and we will know to call on you. If you have an expanded menu, you can also get to the raise hand icon by clicking on reactions, and looks like we don't have any participants joining us by phone, so I will skip over those instructions for now. So that brings me to the end of this, of the rules. And this is the part of the meeting where we can take open comment from the public. So if you wish to speak about something not on the agenda, this would be the time to do so. You can raise your virtual hand and I can call on you, and each person would have 3 minutes to share their comments. So please go ahead and raise your hand. Don't see any hands so far. Give people a few more seconds. Lynn Siegel would like to speak. So Devin, you got the timer ready. Please go ahead, Lynn. You have 3 minutes.
Yay, 3. This may seem unrelated to you, but it is not. I had something stolen by City of Boulder employees in the municipal building, right almost in front of my eyes, 3 feet from me. And that's a concern for me because, for one, this employee has after the $30,000 or $40,000, investigation on the quote unquote theft, 12-page investigation. The guy apparently has a designation of homeless unknown. They don't know if he's homeless or not. And he works for the city, could very well be. He's, can't afford to be here. And so he's taking stuff. Now, I'm not alleging that he actually did, but from reading this 12-page report and corroborating all the evidence, to me, it seems like something's going on here. Something's not clear in the investigation, not well done. So I'm very concerned at the planning board because this further describes the wealth inequality that you have to deal with in your decisions every single day. The budget of the city, the efficiency of the city, the ability of the city to pay for the homeless that are here, the developers not paying, the developers getting subsidies. So I'm talking to you about this. So don't complain to me, please, that this is unrelated. It is intimately related because this is how the funds operate through the city. We're paying 2-something million or 2 to 6 million to clean up after the homeless here. And that's getting worse and worse constantly. And now I'm having, I thought this crime, if it is truly a crime, was done by the homeless people. I wanted to go interview them under the underpass there it was taken in the municipal building by a guy that works in the library and on the auspices that he was getting it for his supervisor, that she needed help. Well, she doesn't corroborate that. She says she didn't get it from him. She might have gotten it from Chrissy, but Chrissy, whoever that is, never got witnessed, never got interviewed. I didn't get interviewed. I have not been allowed to even see the surveillance footage. It's really quite remarkable that this is the way our police operations work. I'm meeting with Alistair tomorrow from September 7th concerns at City Council on policing. But you have an intimate responsibility. Done.
Vivian, you are muted.
Sorry about that. No other hands raised. Over to you, Lisa.
Thank you very much, Vivian. All right, well, looking over the agenda, and please correct me if I'm wrong, staff or fellow members of the planning board, but I don't think we have any minutes to approve today. So next up, as I understand it, should be flowing into call-ups. The first item, the first call-up is a floodplain development permit at 4700 Arapahoe Avenue. This is Xcel Energy doing some utility improvements. Would any fellow member of the board like to ask questions or like to call that item up? I am not seeing hands. Feel free to use the raise hand function or just unmute yourself if at any point it seems like I'm not seeing you. I'll proceed to the next call-up item. This is a standard wetland permit, Boulder County street reconstruction and a culvert replacement at 95th Street to Lookout Road. Any questions for staff or call-ups for that item? Seeing none, I'll proceed. The next call-up is a floodplain development permit, 4 Mile Canyon Creek at 19th Street Channel, improvements and a bridge. Questions for staff or desire to call up? All right, and then our final call-up item D, is a use review to operate a tavern and restaurant concept at 921 Pearl Street. My understanding is that this was formerly Oscar Blues, for anyone who's kind of trying to picture where that is and didn't get the chance to look at it. And this is a routine call-up for a restaurant in that use. And apparently I asked staff and there hasn't been any comment from residents or anyone else around there, just to provide a little context I got. Would anyone like to ask questions of staff or call up that item? All right, I think that concludes our call-ups, which means our next item is the sole public hearing item and use review for this evening, and I will hand it over to staff.
Hey, sorry, I'm just getting the PowerPoint pulled up.
Thanks, Allison.
Okay. All right, thanks for
Now-
being here with me. Can everyone see this? Cool. Thanks for the thumbs up. All right, good evening, everyone. The presentation before you tonight is a use review to allow a specialized instruction facility use in an existing office park on Iris Ave in an RH4 zone. In tonight's presentation, I will briefly cover the information that was provided to you in the staff memo, including the purpose of the use review and process, the existing site conditions and surrounding context, a description of the proposal, and a key issue for discussion. A specialized instruction facility use is allowed in an RH4 zone, but must first be approved through a use review. Those applications are reviewed by staff to evaluate the proposal and confirm that the proposed use will meet the conditions set forth in the use review criteria. Once staff has reviewed the impacts, a recommendation is made to planning board. In this case, because the application is for a non-residential use within a residential zone, a decision is made by planning board at a public hearing. The project completed the necessary notice requirements for the code. Written notice was sent to the property owners within 600 feet, and a sign posting was also posted on the property. Staff did receive a comment from one neighbor who expressed concern about the additional use and the traffic impacts it might have on the surrounding area. That feedback was provided to the applicant and who provided a response and is also included in the memo packet. The site is 0.88 acres and is located at the southwest corner of Diagonal Highway and Foothills Parkway. The subject site is 3825 Iris and is located within the Iris Office Park and is made up of one 3-story office building. The office shares a surface level parking lot and a parking garage with 2 other lots that were approved as part of the original PUD, including 3775 Iris to the northwest, which is another office structure, and 3735 Iris, which is a daycare. The site is zoned RH4, which allows for high density residential uses, particularly attached residential units, usually apartment buildings, and allows for complementary uses. The majority of the site is surrounded by RH4 zoning, with a portion there to the east. It's zoned public, includes the ramp and the highways there. And while the site is surrounded by the high density residential zoning district, the surrounding uses have varied with commercial uses and residential. The uses immediately to the south include attached residential units and other mixed density residential developments. And then further west on the northern side of Iris, there are some other commercial uses, including the Diagonal Park dental offices and the Diagonal Park building. And that brings us to the proposed project. Staff received a business license for the Boulder Massage Therapy Institute to operate at the Iris Office Park. While staff was reviewing the history of the site to verify that the use is compliant with the underlying zoning, as we do for a business license review, we noted that the site is subject to a PUD that allows personal services and office uses. The PUD did not include specialized instruction facility use, and so the current zoning regulations apply. Therefore, the applicant is applying for a use review to allow the inclusion of a specialized instruction facility within the existing office park in an RH4 zone. And written on the slide is the definition of a specialized instruction facility. Boulder Massage Therapy Institute overlaps with and would typically be considered a personal services use, but is considered the specialized instruction facility use because it offers courses and curriculums in order for students to obtain a license to practice massage therapy. The proposed use will offer clinical hours from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. for students to offer massage services to the public at a discounted rate. Those late office hours will actually kind of offset the typical 9 to 5 hours of the other office uses, which will help alleviate parking and traffic concerns. The institute has 1 full-time employee with 10 contracted employees, depending on the class size and depending on the time of day. And there are no proposed changes to the physical building form, as the tenant will utilize an existing office space. and therefore will function much like an office. And last, the site has 157 parking spaces where 154 are required for the 3 other lots that share that parking. The existing office park was approved through a PUD and special review in 1971 for a 4-lot office development, including the shared parking. The original approval included, it just said general offices, which in our current code definitions would include personal services and office uses. In 1983, the PUD was amended to expand the building envelope and build a parking structure that is currently existing. And then finally, in 1933, site review combined 2 buildings into one larger building, which is now 3825 Iris. A lot line elimination was also approved to combine those 2 lots. And the key issue for discussion is the proposal consistent with the use review criteria set forth in section 9215E? Staff finds that the proposal is consistent with the applicable use review criteria. Specifically, the use is compatible with the character of the area as the site is an existing office park, and that is not proposed to be changed. There are several other commercial and non-residential uses along Iris to the west that was shown in that previous slide. And additionally, the use provides a service or convenience to the nearby community by offering massage therapy to those residents in those zone districts at a discounted rate. And the inclusion of the specialized instruction facility will utilize existing parking and tenant spaces and therefore will not create any additional adverse impacts. In fact, the offset hours means that traffic and parking will not all consolidate at peak hours, but will be more spread out throughout the day to help alleviate that traffic and parking demand. And that wraps up my presentation, and I'll open up for any questions.
Thank you. ML, I see your hand up, and then Mark, I'll have you go next.
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you, Ellison, for that brief but very complete little presentation. I have a question, actually 2 questions regarding the rationale. So my understanding is that the rationale is that this provides a direct service or convenience to or reduces adverse impacts to the surrounding uses and neighborhoods. So we didn't really hear on the neighbors as to whether it's providing a direct service or convenience. So am I to understand that that conclusion was strictly based on the applicant's statement?
I think in evaluating the proposal that was brought, and that it essentially does function like a personal services use, which is included in the original approval for the PUD. And the only difference is that they offer classes and curriculums to obtain a license. So that was kind of the biggest factor. We did hear from the one neighbor, and the applicant provided a parking study to kind of show how many available parking spaces are throughout the day, and there's plenty of parking. And so as far as the traffic impacts, we have with the offset hours, there are visitors that come throughout the site throughout all hours, up till 10 p.m. But the space is still going to function like an office, and so that office is already existing. All those tenants are already existing. So that was kind of the analysis that went behind that.
Okay, so the fact that it provides a direct service or convenience was kind of a conclusion based on everything, all the circumstances surrounding it. That's fine. So the other thing that was mentioned in your presentation was that there was a discount rate being provided. Is that only for the neighborhood, or is that for anybody?
I believe that is for everyone. I'm not, I think the applicant is on the call, and they can maybe speak more to that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if there is how direct a service or convenience for the existing neighborhood this is providing. So that's why I'm asking these very specific questions. Thank you so much for answering.
Sure.
Thank you, Amal. Mark, you're up.
Thank you. When staff determines that a use review is required, was it ever an option in this case for staff to make a determination and then put it on a call-up list rather than as an agenda item, or is that not an option?
It wasn't an option in this case because it's a non-residential use in a residential zone, even though it's existing in a PUD, an existing office park, but that was their only option.
And then in reviewing briefly, I make no claim to really delving into it at the moment. The use review criteria in Title IX, I couldn't find any transportation demand management requirements for approval of a use review, for approval of a use. Am I missing something, or is it actually not? There isn't really anything there for a use review.
Yeah, I'd say that there isn't specific to, like maybe like a site review criteria that includes TDMs or other access and mobility criteria, but for a use review, we'd look at it as like a larger whole, like the impacts would probably be tied into that as far as the traffic is concerned, but nothing specific like a TDM requirement.
Okay, great. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Laura, go ahead.
Thank you. Just a quick follow-on to ML's questions. In the use review criteria where it says, for the rationale, the use provides a direct service or convenience to the neighborhood, is that intended to be an exclusive benefit to the neighborhood, or can it be a wider benefit that also benefits the neighborhood?
It's a good question. I'm not as familiar with kind of the history of the writing of the use review criteria. I don't know, Charles, you have any thoughts on that one?
No, it's an interesting question. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Certainly the criteria talks specifically about benefit to the neighborhood, but if there's collateral benefit that, spills over them, I think that's probably fine too, if it's more of a regional benefit.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
All right. Does anyone else have any further questions for staff? Okay, I think we don't have a formal presentation from the applicant, but they're perhaps going to briefly speak, if I'm not putting them on the spot and am correct about that. So this is the opportunity for the applicant to weigh in if they would like to. Do you know, Allison, if they're planning and hoping to speak? I see.
Yeah, Melinda, that's her. I think she's, yeah, there she is.
They're there. It looks like their hands up. They may need to be approved.
Hi,
Okay.
can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Allison, and thank you, board, for your time. I'm Melinda Bessie, and I'm the owner of Boulder Massage Therapy Institute. So we're a 625-hour massage therapy licensure program, and we're approved by the state of Colorado. We're actually the only massage school in Boulder County. So I just want to touch briefly on who we are, what we're doing. We have some of the best faculty in the industry, really rich curriculum, and so far 100% pass rate on the national exam. So I'm very passionate about all of the talented and professional and holistic practitioners that we are bringing into Boulder and really kind of regionally and everywhere. But we are also grateful to be able to provide the economical massages for the local community. So 91 hours of the 625-hour licensure program, the students are seeing the general public. And we have such a thriving community, I would say mostly local to where we are at, but coming from all areas of Boulder County to come and see us. But they're all super grateful we're there. We have, it's only $42 for a 55-minute massage. So we have those two elements to the school. So it's the 625-hour education, as well as a thriving clinic as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Melinda. Mark, do you have a question for our applicant?
I do.
Go ahead.
Thanks. And I've just been in Boulder for a really, really long time. And my very first massage when I arrived in Boulder was from a student at the Boulder School of Massage Therapy. My question is do you, I know that the Boulder School of Massage Therapy has been through many changes and disappeared and so forth. Do you have a link to that, or is this just an entirely different school? Is there a historical chain back to the School of Massage Therapy?
Not exactly. However, we did open right after they closed, and the founder graduated from the Boulder College of Massage Therapy, as well as a lot of our faculty or longtime faculty from that school.
Thank you.
So that's the only relation. Yeah.
ML, did you have a question as well?
I do have a question. I have two actually. So in your narrative, you mentioned that the clinical portion of the program takes place on weekends and varies based on student availability and community member preferences. So I'm curious, is this community member, are these neighbors, are these clients, who are these community members that help establish the times for the clinic?
Establish the times?
I'm looking at your application narrative. It says the clinical portion of the program takes place on weekdays and varies based on student availability and community member preferences. So I'm curious as to who these community members. Are the neighbors queried as to what works for them, or is this community the people who are actually taking the class? Who are these community members that are referenced?
Just that what we find works well with people. It just tends to take place in the evenings after they have had a long work day. So most of our clinics actually take place in the evenings. We do offer daytime because that does work better for some of our community members. And this is just after doing it for a while and just noticing what people like and what times are working for people. And we also, because our program is part-time, a lot of our students work full-time. So we like to have different options for them, you know, to do their clinic in the evenings, or people that, you know, have different work hours. We also offer that kind of daytime shift as well.
Okay, so it sounds like your community members are your students and their clients.
Yes.
Okay. Second question, I think I also read in the narrative that the Boulder Massage Therapy Institute relocated to this address from Gun Park Drive to this address in 2020.
Correct.
So does that mean you've been operating out of compliance for 3 years, or there's kind of I'm confused.
I'm not sure, because we've always applied for a business license and been up to date on our business license. So I'm not sure I could answer that question.
Oh. Allison, so they've had a active business license since 2020, but this particular application triggered a use review?
This was triggered by, it was the license renewal. And I think this was it. I could look up and see when the exact communication happened. But sometimes it takes a little bit of time for applicants to get the use review prepared. But I think someone else joined and might be able to speak to the timeline a little bit better.
Hi, this is Charlotte Roth and Mike Davidson. We're counsel for Boulder Massage Therapy Institute. This came to Boulder Massage Therapy Institute's attention when they renewed their business license. they thought they were in compliance with zoning at the time, but once this was turned into the city of Boulder, they realized that this use was not allowed. So we started this use review application and have been moving forward, and this is when we've turned it in.
Wow, okay, so it's taken since 2020. I'm sorry. We are a long process. Thank you for answering the questions.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions from members of the board? Yes, Laura, go ahead.
Hi, just another follow-up on ML's line of questioning. So when did your business license expire? Was it a multi-year business license, or do you have to get a renewal every year?
Allison, do you have that detail?
I don't.
Not
I-
Allison, Charlotte,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
I believe it's yearly, but there was some communications with the city of Boulder, kind of understanding the PUD. We believed under the PUD that the uses were permitted, and there was some communications about if it was permitted, the code had changed and the nomenclature had changed, so we were uncertain if it was allowed and permitted. And once we got to that conclusion that it was not permitted under the code, that's when we begun the process of the land use review.
Okay.
Yeah, I
thank you
believe
very-
Allison could chime in too, but I think that specialized instruction facility is a new code provision that just kind of came about recently.
Yeah, it was previously, I think it was an adult education facility name, so that tweaked a little bit. But I think the renewal process is something that I think is sort of new to the sales tax team. They do auto renewals, and I think that's when this was caught during that process. And I think that happens every few years. I'd have to check with the sales tax team.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other questions from members of the board for the applicant? All right, I believe our next step is public comment to this item specifically, unless again, someone corrects me. And if so, Vivian, could I hand the mic back over to you to run that portion?
Sure. So this would be the time for members of the public to raise your virtual hand so we can call on you. Okay, Lynn, please go ahead. You have 3 minutes to speak to this item. Please go ahead.
Looks pretty good to me, but the use review should include jobs housing balance requirement. If it doesn't already through the Boulder Valley Comp Plan, then there should be an evaluation of that for the employees that are coming in here. It's kind of a dead end area. I'm not going to go there on my bike, you know, but we do need massage training places so that we can have little massage studios in all the 15-minute neighborhoods, right? That would be very cool. Let's see. It's the same idea. It really, these considerations need to be made for the fact that it's not a destination place. And I mean, it's kind of stuck there in this corner. It's going to require, it's very car oriented around that area. I mean, we've got to deconstruct that with planning board, you know, like the cart orientation of general areas, but to deconstruct that's going to take decades and decades, I'm sure, so that there's small neighborhoods and people aren't having to go on the Foothills Highway and the Iris and the large areas. But I'd say it's basically probably approvable because of the fact that it's a training center for folks that are going to be providing the benefit to the neighborhood. But I would say if you could actually have the training center set up some kind of a situation where micro massage things could be all around town in the 15-minute neighborhoods, then that would be a constraint on them that they'd, you know, have to do that would offset the fact that they're kind of a destination resort type thing where people are having to drive out there. Yeah, that's the best I can do on this situation. And I'm glad there's lots of interest in massage in Boulder. There always has been. Thanks. Bye. Done.
Thank you so much, Lynn, for your comments. Anybody else? Okay, that concludes the public hearing. Back to you, Lisa.
Thanks, Vivian. All right, we're going to move into discussion. So this is board discussion. Anyone who would like to speak to this item, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll kind of go around, give everyone a chance to talk, and then maybe have a second shot, and then we'll probably move forward with making a decision. So any hands raised? Laura, I saw you up first.
Thank
Laura,
you.
please go ahead.
Thank you. So this one is a slam dunk for me. This kind of specialized instruction facility is allowed in this zone as long as it meets the use review criteria. And, it's not changing anything about the built structure. It's not changing the character of the area. Massage therapy, the clinical portion is clearly allowed under both the code and the PUD. The only thing that we're really talking about is the idea that some folks are getting trained, which clearly does provide a service and convenience to the neighborhood. And I don't see it having any negative impacts, and it seems consistent with the character. So I have no qualms about approving this enthusiastically.
Thank you, Laura. Amel, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I will concur with Laura's enthusiasm. I think it's always great to see some of those threads that were part of early Boulder still remaining in a viable fashion. My questions were answered to full satisfaction, and I think that this is one of those projects that as the zoning, this use review criteria evolved and changed in this last year, it put people in oh gosh, it's not business as usual, something has changed. And so put the project in a position to have to approach what would have been a standard process in a different way because of the changes that we've made to those base criteria in this recent months. So I can appreciate the timing and the way that has worked out. And yes, I am prepared to support this motion.
Thank you, Amel. Anyone else who would like to speak to this? I'll just speak as chair and say that I very much echo what we heard from Amel and Laura. It seems quite straightforward to me, and I am planning to support it as well. And Mark wants to speak in just a moment. One second, Mark, let me say something to staff real quick. I'm having trouble accessing the motion language, and I think we may be speaking to it soon. It doesn't need to be up on screen yet, but if you aren't already anticipating that, if you guys could get ready to put it up when and if we get to that point, that would be very helpful. Mark, go ahead.
I was just going to offer to make a motion unless anyone, if everyone was done speaking. And I have the motion language ready to.
Yay, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, so. Okay.
That's fine with me unless I see another hand
Okay.
come up and someone wants to weigh in. I think you're good to proceed.
Okay. I move to approve use review number LUR 2023-00033, incorporating the staff memorandum, including its attachments as finding of fact and subject to the recommended conditions of approval.
Second.
And a second from Laura. So motion introduced by Mark McIntyre and seconded by Laura Kaplan. I'll go ahead and take a roll call. Mark?
Aye.
Laura?
Yes.
Georgie?
Yes.
ML?
Yes.
And I am also a yes. That passes unanimously with planning board members present 5-0. All right. I think our next item is matters. Is that correct? I don't have it pulled up anymore.
Thank
Where
you
am I
all
at?
so much. I just want to say thank you so much, and I hope to see you guys at the clinic.
Thank you, Melinda. We appreciate you being here.
Congratulations
Thank you,
on your
Allison, as
approval.
well.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, we're proceeding on to matters. So this will be matters from planning director, city attorney. Any staff have anything to bring forward? I have a couple things I'll mention very briefly on calendaring at the end. Brad, shaking your head.
Charles or Helen, do you want to go first? I guess everybody's shy tonight.
Nothing to say. Brad, did you have something you wanted to introduce?
Well, I was just going to take this moment to try to thoroughly embarrass Devin because it is his last official planning board meeting. However, he will be at the retreat helping with some of the mechanics, which I think, if I'm doing math right, is like 2 days before your last day or something. So, which since it's a late meeting, it actually is more like, you know, less than that. So, but we've appreciated Devin and wish him very well. You know, sad for us, but certainly glad it's his opportunities.
I appreciate that. It's been great really working with y'all. As Brad mentioned, I will be there next week to help you guys with the agenda there for everything and the council diet training for the retreat, which I'm excited to actually see you guys in person for once. You know, that's a plus. But no, it's really been great. Just working with you all. You all have such a dedication to this board and to the city of Boulder, which is so clear. And it's been great working with you guys. And I've said it a few times now, so it's ringing the bell a few here, but I'm sure I'll be back in Boulder at some point and we'll cross paths again. So thanks again for y'all. And I will look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Yeah, thank you so much, Devin. You've been competent and friendly and just on it from day one. And we were very, very lucky to have you. And as I said in the agenda meeting, as soon as I saw how good you were, I was like, oh, he's going to get promoted internally or get something else like soon. But and yay, verily. But we are very lucky to have you. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm sure that Lisa speaks for all of us there, and we won't say goodbye yet since we'll see you next week, but it has been really great having your support and all of your skills brought to bear on this board. So thank you, Devin, and we will miss you.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Laura. Likewise.
All right. I'm going to do a couple quick calendaring things, and then if anyone else has anything they want to bring up, please speak up. So the first is, I believe we've all been invited to do one-on-ones with our facilitator for our board retreat. So if you haven't had that yet, or if it somehow hasn't gotten scheduled or anything else is going on, just, you know, if it works for your schedule and you're able to attend, I think hopefully those will help to make our retreat a wonderful event and as good as it can be. And then I also just wanted to mention that we have some upcoming planning board meetings that are scheduled for like the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, the Tuesday before Christmas. There's one that's the 2nd, so just the day after New Year's. And just to encourage board members to look at their calendars, look at what's happening with their personal lives and work lives and family and anything else you have going on, and just reach out early if you know that you won't be making a particular meeting. Which is certainly possible and normal during these months, just so that we can keep an eye on quorum and just kind of see what's happening. So just please keep track of that if you might not attend one or more meetings. And I think that's all from me. Mark, go ahead.
I was just checking my calendar, and so I still have it next Tuesdays, the 24th, the retreat, as a hold 5 to 8 p.m. with an overlapping planning board meeting. So obviously the meeting, I just want to concur, understand, is it at 5 to 8? And is there a change to the invitation for that coming?
Yeah, thanks for flagging that, Mark. It is going to be next week in replacement of the planning board meeting. So we'll meet at 5 o'clock for dinner, and then eat for about 45 minutes or so, and then we'll go right into the retreat. So I'll go ahead and send out an updated calendar invite tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, so as Devin just said, I think that 5 o'clock start is to allow for a little bit of socializing and eating prior to the formal meeting starting. So the formal meeting will still start right around 6, but we wanted to give a little leeway for people to come in and sit down and eat. So that's why the earlier start.
And will George be able to join us at some point remotely? Oh, George, we'll miss you.
No, I think it'll be more disruptive to be remote than to let you guys go at it. I'm sure it'll be, I'll miss you guys too, but I'll be there soon enough.
You don't want to be a giant looming head above us? No?
We'll FedEx your dinner to you, though.
Does DoorDash deliver to Sweden?
They've probably got their own service. We could send something.
Maybe not at 3 a.m.
All right. Anything else, folks, before I gavel us out? Yes, go ahead, Laura.
I think Vivian has left us, but crediting her for the idea that we wanted to wish Sarah a happy birthday. I understand that it's her birthday. So Sarah, if you're watching, we all wish you a happy birthday.
May the minutes reflect that if we're allowed to sneak in things like that.
I
right.
I suspect she's not watching.
I hope she's not. It's her birthday. I really hope she's watching. But if she looks later, if she's being thorough. All right, folks. I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for your time. I'm glad it was such a quick and short and concise one, and we'll see you next week in person at the retreat.
Thanks all. Thank Lisa.
Bye, all.